middle of statements and responses. There's no other statement. We'll have to wait. I'm going to defer to the member from Simcoe North for responses.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on April the 20th, when 24,000 students were locked out of the classroom in Durham, I rose in this House, I stood up, and during question period I asked the Minister of Education about the 24,000 students in Durham. I asked the Minister of Education what she was going to say to those students who want to learn, and what she was going to say to the parents who want to see them succeed in the classroom. And for the last 5 weeks she did nothing and said nothing. Did and drawled on as she blamed local boards at every chance she got. But the buck stopped with her and the government. For 6 weeks, as 2 more school boards and 48,000 more students were impacted, the Minister of Education did nothing to ensure students' years were saved. She used them as pawns in her blame game and kept them locked out of the classroom as she failed to negotiate in good faith. While she has allowed the education of the students from Durham, Rainbow and Peel to spin into chaos, the Ontario PC Caucus has been consistent in our position that the most important issue in the current dispute with the OSSTF is the education of students and the need to get them back into the class as quickly as possible, an urgency the Liberal government did not share. With great reluctance, the Ontario PC Caucus will be supporting the quick passage of the proposed back-to-work legislation. High school students in these boards must be able to return to class at the first opportunity to complete their studies. And most importantly, those students in grade 12 must be able to participate in the end-of-year activities and graduate in order to ensure they're prepared for college, university, or to enter the workforce. I must reiterate that we are supporting the legislation reluctantly. The legislation will only ameliorate a bad situation that has been created by your government's failed 2-tiered disaster of a bargaining process as outlined in Bill 122, and created by your government's inability to reach a negotiated settlement. Your government, your ministry, and the Ministry of Education must recognize the fundamental flaws in Bill 122 that have led to the chaos in our education system. There are many Ontario school boards yet to successfully negotiate a collective agreement. Without any delay, you should introduce legislation to fix the dysfunctional bargaining process that your government has put in place. And believe me, unless this is fixed, we're going to have absolute turmoil by September the 1st. You must fix this system. You must introduce legislation to immediately clarify and fix this bargaining mess. It is absolutely imperative we ensure that chaos now experienced by high school students in Durham, Peel and Brainville will not spread to the rest of Ontario's educational system. If the process outlined in Bill 122 is allowed to continue, there is no doubt in my mind that more labour unrest will follow. And I just can't believe for a second that if we think that this bill today, if we pass even if we time allocate it or we get unanimous consent, there will be, Mr. Speaker, for sure there will be turmoil in the education system. It's not just the boards, the union locals and provincial unions that are impacted by the lack of clarity and confusion from Bill 122. In fact, the obscure commission you relied on to tell you the school year was in jeopardy has also been affected by this legislation. A commission once independent from negotiations is now an arm's-length organization of the biggest party in the negotiations. Bill 122 has led to an absurd blame game where the government blames everyone but themselves and fails to take any responsibility. And we knew that over and over again. But in the end, it is the students who are impacted the most by the failed system in Bill 122. It is the students who have been held out of the classroom. It is the students who missed their concerts. It is the students who missed their games. It is the students who didn't know if they would graduate. It is the students who feared they would make it to a college or universities. It is the students who have hurt the most with Bill 122. You pandered for years and kicked the can down the road, but now you have run out of road. If you don't get your house in order, I am certain this won't be the last piece of back-to-work legislation you will be introducing. And I want to say on behalf of our young leader, Patrick Brown, and I would like to say, well, I'm not sure what they're yelling at over there, Mr. Speaker. I guess I want to bring something about from Mr. Brown. The Ontario PC Caucus, and in particular the PC Education critic Garfield Dunlop, I'm not bragging with that, has been consistent in its position that the most important issue in the current dispute with OSSTF is the education of students and the need to get them back into the classroom as quickly as possible. As such, the Ontario PC Caucus will be supporting the quick passage of the proposed back-to-work legislation. High school students affected by the strike must be able to return to class immediately to complete their studies at this critical juncture of the school year. In particular, and remember, we've only got 25 days left in the school year right now, Mr. Speaker. In particular, grade 12 students must be able to participate in the end-of-year activities and graduate in order to go on to post-secondary studies or enter the workforce. I trust your government has recognized the fundamental flaws in Bill 122 that have led to the current situation. As there are other Ontario school boards yet to successfully negotiate a collective agreement, I would ask you to immediately fix the dysfunctional bargaining process that your government has put in place to ensure that the chaos now experienced by high school students in Durham, Peel and Sudbury will not spread to the rest of Ontario's educational system. And I say that on behalf of Patrick Brown, the leader of the Ontario Students' Party. Thank you very much.